A complete backgammon set contains the backgammon board, 15 checkers of 2 different colors, 4 standard dice, a doubling cube, and 2 dice rolling cups. The best way to look at a backgammon board is to number it from 24, 23, all the way around to 1 for the brown player. And white's going to do the same thing from the other side. And just imagine numbering the points 24, 23, and all the way around to their number 1 point on their side. Setting up the checkers on the board, we're going to use the numbering system that we just discussed and put 2 checkers on the number 24 point, 5 checkers on the 13 point, 3 checkers on the 8 point, and 5 checkers on the 6 point. An easy way to remember this moving forward is just to remember setting up the board as 25, 35. And just remember that 35, the 3 checkers, needs to start on the number 8 point. Then everything else will just go where it goes. Deciding who goes first is really simple. Each player is just going to take 1 die, throw it, and whoever gets the highest number is going to go first. In this scenario, we tied with a 3, so we'll roll again. 6 for brown, so brown will go first. Brown's checkers will move around the board in this direction, and white's checkers will move around the board in this direction. So if white had rolled a 4, we would move 1, 2, 3, 4, or they could move one of these checkers over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, white is always trying to move their checkers around the board and into their home board over here. Brown is looking to move their checkers in the opposite direction into their home board on the other side. We had determined that brown would move first, so brown will take their dice, put them in their cup, and throw them out. Here we rolled a 3 and a 5, so brown would move 1 checker 3, 1 checker 5, or really any combination of checkers can move. As long as they can move to an open point around the board on their way to the home board, they can take that move, with the object of getting the checkers into the home board and eventually off as the ultimate goal. There are some special rules for rolling doubles. When a player rolls 2 of the same dice, they will actually get 4 moves for the face-up number on the dice. So in this example, you could move 1 checker, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or you could move any number of checkers 4 times. So here, here, and finally here. Any of those moves would be fine. What you can't do is move this checker 1, 2, even if you plan to continue forward. It can't stop on the 2 point because it's blocked. So this checker would be unable to be moved on this turn. Blots and hits are a big part of the strategic portion of the game. This is a blot for a brown player, and this would be a blot for a white player. A blot just means that there's 1 checker on a point, and it's able to be hit. Being hit means that the brown player here would move its checker forward 2 spaces, hitting this blot, sending white to the bar for re-entry. When a checker has been hit, the first move the player needs to make is to get the checker off the bar. So in this situation, white would roll and try to enter their checker from the bar into their number 24 point to be moved back around to their home board. Another scenario would be, let's say that white had rolled a 6 and a 4. For white to enter the board with those dice numbers, a 4 would not work because the 4 point is blocked, and a 6 would not work because that point is blocked as well. So white would actually lose their turn in this scenario, and brown gets to go. Bearing all of your checkers off the board is how you win the game. So it's really the ultimate goal of your strategy and gameplay is to get your checkers into the home board and then to eventually bear them off the board. So you have to have all of your checkers inside of the board in order to bear them off. In this scenario, white still needs to get this checker into the home board. So they will take their turn, and with these dice we'll be able to move this checker into the home board and is now ready to start bearing off. Before we move on, we should take a brief stop and just talk about getting hit while bearing off. If brown hit one of white's checkers while white was bearing off, white cannot bear off any more checkers until the checker on the bar has re-entered and worked its way all the way back around the board into the home board. At that point, they can continue to bear off. And we're back to where we left off. Now, the dice will continue to be rolled and the checkers will be bore off the board using the numbers on the face of the dice. A checker can be taken off the board as long as the number on the dice is higher than the point that the checker sits on. In this scenario, a 4 would either need to move checkers from the 5 or 6 point forward and closer to being taken off the board, or could move a lower numbered checker off the board with that 4 roll. So a 3 or a 2 or a 1 even could be used with that 4. So we're going to continue running the dice out here until we get down to white making this roll, which allows them to get their last 2 checkers off the board and makes them the winner.